Hello there, guys. How are you doing? My name is Michael, and I'm going to continue with our playthrough of Dark Souls 2. I'm actually standing just outside the boss room where we fought the Rotten, and I am going to go through here to the DLC area. Now, this is the Sunken Crown DLC. I'm not actually going to go through this area, and I'm not really going to talk about it as much, but I just wanted to show you something really useful about this area, especially it's the first time you're going through the game. Maybe a little bit cheatery, sort of. I mean, not exactly, but I mentioned a while ago, I think, that you can actually purchase, or excuse me, you can actually find a longbow +7 down here just randomly strewn about on the floor, and I think this is a good way to mitigate the fact that you cannot get the best bow in the game, the Hunter's Black Bow, for quite a while. And so you do not have to pointlessly upgrade the regular longbow before you get the Black Bow, which makes the longbow completely obsolete. There you are. This, I would say, is probably my favorite of all of the DLCs. I really, really enjoy the look of it. It's got that verticality again back to it. It has a weird, if you notice, it has a definite Mesoamerican feel to it, which is really cool. I think it's kind of strange that at the bottom of Drang Lake there's somehow a kingdom beneath the ground. I mean, presumably it wasn't always beneath the ground. Hello, Sin. How are you doing? How are you doing there? This scared me when I first came down here. I was like, what? That's the area boss of this section, and it's a really good dragon fight. I mean, it's not Calamite, which is the absolute best, but it's pretty damn good. I mean, I assume that Shulva was above the ground at some point and sank beneath it at some time, but I really don't know. We have a bonfire right up here, which is very nice. And the longbow +7 is really right at the entrance. You do have to fight some guys to get there, but I'm not going to get that item yet. I'm gonna wait for the other stuff till when I come down here. I'll probably mention this again when I'm actually going through the area, but the creatures in this area are very, very basic. They some basic bitches. They're just armored dudes. And they made them harder by making them essentially very difficult to stagger. That's really all that they did. There's a really interesting design choice that they put here. You see those, I don't know what to call them, pillars, plinths, something, with light on them? You can hit them with arrows, and they will cause things to happen. Things to come up, bridges to go down, enemies to get hit like that, which is hilarious. This guy is seizing out back here, poor guy. And it speaks to the laziness generally of the area. I mean, it looks and feels a lot better than a heck of a lot of Dark Souls 2, but that isn't necessarily saying a whole lot. You can get that mace that those guys have, and it's actually kind of neat. It's a strength weapon and it does poison damage, and that's something we need to mention. This is the poison level, and it's one of, I guess, 3? I guess Harvest Valley. No, I guess is this the 5th poison level? I kind of think of the Gutter and the Black Gulch as one area, so that's like 1. And then we have Earthen Peak and Harvest Valley. That's 1 more. I consider that sort of like 1 area. You can parry these guys too, by the way. Actually, I think fairly easy to parry if I remember right. But I don't know. I don't know if I want to necessarily test that. I don't believe you can get their armor. I don't remember that. I mean, they look just like basic hollows. Let me take a look at this armor. I don't recognize it if it's a reskin of regular armor, but I don't believe we can get it. And of course, just like all the other areas in Dark Souls 2, it's piled high with, just a bunch of enemies all coming at you at once. I think all of the enemies in the DLCs are kind of like that. I mean, they're pretty much all 3 DLCs have just big guys in armor. That's basically, I mean, that's selling it short a little bit. That's not the exclusive thing. But there definitely was not a heck of a lot of creativity put into that. Especially here, that again we have a gank. I mean, we have 3 guys. 3 freaking guys with bows coming at us. 3 dudes. And that's kind of pathetic. And then we have all of the other guys with the regular mace, those big mace things. There are also people with lances down here, and we haven't discussed lances yet because you can't really get one yet until you defeat the chariot boss. But yeah, that's not a fun experience to fight a guy against a guy with a lance. And what we have to do is hit this here. Just gonna pop on the cat's ring. I don't know how much damage this may do, but I'm gonna throw it on anyway, just in case. And right down there is your longbow plus 7. And oh, got lucky there. And I'm just gonna homeward bow it out of here, because I don't really want to do this section yet. I want to wait until later. Ooh, I'm almost out of homeward bows. The next area that we're actually going to go into is the Shaded Woods. This section, this path to the Duke's Dear Freya Lord Soul is probably my favorite of the 4. Yeah, I would say that. And let's just put on that longbow. This is definitely superior to the Dragon Rider bow because, I mean, not just the stats are better, but it's so much faster. You know, I mean, you saw we can barely get 2 off with this, but this one we can get 1, 2, 3, and then it'll go up much quicker. The next area, I don't think I'm going to go back to get homeward bones. I don't really care enough to do that. What is he? Oh, he's wearing the Rebel Rames armor, and he's got the Fume Sword. Now, this next area that we're about to pass into, before we get to the Shaded Ruins proper, is, I guess you can just call it the Shaded Woods area, whatever you want to call it. And it's a really interesting area. It's well designed, it looks cool, there's an interesting mechanic about it. You've noticed that we've been playing a bunch of times and seen phantoms. Those are other players, ghosts, that are sort of running around, and we can get a quick window into their world. Survey, see the bloodstains. This should make everyone scared. There's usually lots more bloodstains around here, so people must have been unusually cautious coming through here. I don't know if we'll be able to see them. There he is. Do you see him? Do you see him right there? You may not be able to, but I can see him. He's straight ahead of me. The enemies in this area are essentially ghostly creatures that look like player phantoms. And these phantoms are blending in, of course, with the fog, and lighting a torch does nothing. You can see another one right there, actually. Can you see him? I don't know if these guys are infinite or not, but they kind of feel infinite, and it's hard to get a good gauge of how many of them there are. Maybe you can see one right there, directly in the sights. You moved away. These enemies have crossbows, so they can get ranged attacks on you. They also have rapiers, I believe. I hit one, there he is. And they are tough enemies, because they're just so nasty and unpleasant, and you can't see them. And dem backstabs that these guys do. I mean, wow. I can't quite tell what armor these guys might be wearing. I'm not sure about that. I got one there. There's tons more in there, so taking them out like that is not really practical, because there are so many. And this area does have a couple of good things to hide. That's where we came, right up here. You really just want to hug the left wall if you want to just run through here, which is a good option. That's what I usually do. This is where Vengarl is, where we got the claymore. And let's just keep going left, and we're going to light the bonfire, or try to in the next area, then come back here and explore it a little more. There's a summon sign in here. That's odd. Somebody actually put their summon sign in the middle of this place. That's a little unusual. Maybe they did that because they did not. They knew that they did not want to get summoned by anyone other than their friend. And I was confused when I came here because I thought it was going to be Brightstone Cove Seldora, but that's actually a couple of areas past this. So let's just light up this bonfire here and head right back into the Shaded Woods. This area has 2 items of great value. One is the Chloranthy Ring +1, and you know I love me my Chloranthy Ring. I don't like to leave home without it. And another is the clear bluestone ring +1. I have not talked about this yet because I'm not playing that kind of character, but the clear bluestone ring allows you to, your cast speed to go up. So you can cast spells faster. That makes it almost essential for a sorcery build. I have pretty much never done a sorcery build without that. Now you'll notice these trees have faces on them, which looks kind of cool, kind of grotesque. If you strike these things, which I'm not going to do just yet, they will let loose a kind of loud moan, and that will draw the attention of the ghosts around them. This is not terribly useful to get through this area like this, because, oh god, there's one right behind me, I think. I heard the crossbow. This is where the Chloranthy ring is. If you just want to suicide here to get it, that's a good idea. I've been backstabbed while trying to open this chest more times than I can count. I don't think they've noticed me just yet. And there we go. And they can also shoot you with arrows while you're up here. There we go. I don't know if you can target these guys. Maybe you can. There's another ring over here, but it's kind of useless. Although it's kind of funny, this ring. I kind of like the idea of this ring. Where are you? There's one. You see him? Oh, he's right behind me. It is so easy for these guys to backstab you. Oh! Oh, that ring is in a chest. Oh, man. Oh, there he is. I see you. Oh, and they got good health, too. Hard for me to take that guy out. There's another one, of course. Because there couldn't just be one thing at a time. You had to put piles of these things in the game. I'm probably going to be backstabbed here. Ooh, but I got lucky. I think you can actually see a real player phantom over there. That axe-wielding guy. That's an actual player. They look a little bit different than these ghosts. I kind of like the idea of them creating this trick. I'm going to hit one of these things here. And that moan, supposedly, I believe this is where the Chloranthy ring is, draws enemies towards it, and thus, of course, away from you. And I'm going to die here. Fuck. That chest, by the way, was where you get the clear bluestone ring. I think you have to lure the enemies away from that area, but it's kind of tricky, and I don't think all of them are lured towards that area, as you saw. I'm not a spell-casting character, so I'm not that concerned with the ring, but I did kind of want to show that to you. It is extremely valuable if you're a sorcerer to do it, so you jackass, do not put a message right here that somebody could be distracted with. You fucking little twat. Oh my god, whoever wrote that is an asshole and should go to hell. There are people like that in Dark Souls 1 too. They're really cunts. Fuck those people. Can't stand that. Alright, let's see if I can find my way back. Okay. This is the maze, you just gotta hug the wall. I think there's another item in here, but it's useless. It's like a soul item or something. There is a very interesting item in here in New Game Plus, but as we are not in New Game Plus, we cannot get it. I don't particularly care for the item anyway. And so here we have the Shaded Ruins proper, and this area is really cool. This is also a pretty big PvP area too, so you can get invaded here, just to remind you. This area is pretty cool because you can find some good upgrade items. There is a cool NPC that you can meet, and you can get, oh, 2 cool NPCs that you can meet actually. But first we need to go back to Majula to get an item that we really need to continue with this area. I kind of like this element of the game because you have to go buy a ring from the cat person in order to proceed with this section. Well, no, you don't actually have to. You don't have to buy it from the cat woman. You don't have to do that. But I just think it's good form to do so because it's it makes the game more interesting. And hello there. And there it is, the Ring of Whispers. What the Ring of Whispers will do... I almost said the Ring of Whiskers because I was looking at that damn cat. Jesus. What the Ring of Whispers will do for... You know what? I just realized I've got to go get some Homeward Bones. I stupidly forgot that. What the Ring of Whispers will do through 99% of the game is to make you hear a kind of dull roaring noise in the background of most levels, because the enemies are emitting this strange sort of, it's sort of like a tiger pacing a few feet away from you, this noise, or maybe a loud zombie kind of noise. And this noise is, in theory, supposed to alert you to the fact that you are near some enemies. However, sound is very important in a Dark Souls, in any Souls game, because, there's no music except during boss fights, so the sound is supposed to be there, so you can hear things that the enemies are doing, and just in general things around you that you can use, Radiant Life Gem, that you can use around you to be a little bit more safe, be a little bit more cautious. These are just some bolts, I think. Dark bolts, maybe. Magic bolts. We're going to explore this area a little bit more fully, but first we're going to use that Ring of Whispers. Yeah, did you see that? I'm going to do that again. That is Curse. In Dark Souls 1, Curse was an instant kill, and it was serious, serious business. If you were cursed, that means that your maximum health was permanently reduced to 50% of its maximum. And you could break that, but you had to have the item to use in order to break that. And finding that item was not necessarily easy. Especially early on in the game. You can get cursed early on in the game. And Curse was substantially changed. Petrification became a light version of Curse. You die instantly, but you only suffer the normal penalty for hollowing. It's not 50% down. Curse is usually given to you in a fog or cloud. There's no point in having any resistance or defense to it. You just have to destroy what's cursing you. And what is cursing us, if we can see it here, is that. That is what is cursing us. This horrible, leering jar. That's what's cursing us. And we cannot break these jars with our normal wooden arrows, only with iron arrows or heavy bolts. And you cannot use the elemental versions of these things too, which doesn't make a lot of sense because, hey, they're more upgraded versions from the heavy bolt or iron arrows, so shouldn't be able to use those. But no, you cannot. You might be able to also use spells to destroy them, I'm not sure about that. And these things just passively sit there and laugh, they sort of giggle and they curse us. And they're all over this level, so just be aware of that. And we're going to see the next enemy in this game after this other curse jar. It is a lion man. This kind of reminds me somehow of the Wizard of Oz in a way, seeing this lion person around here. And these lion guys were also in Symphony of the Night. I believe only in the inverted castle level, though. Just roll through these things to break them. And there's another one here. And it's kind of neat to see these guys again. They had claws, like metal claw things, like you could get from Gilligan in Symphony of the Night. But it's kind of neat to see those. We're busting out the old great club, so you know what's coming. Got another one of those pesky blighters coming up. And we got him. Ooh. Something that, I'm not sure about this, but it seems more common in this game to have a guaranteed drop from those things. And in other words, they drop the same thing each time you kill them, which was really against what they did in the first game, where you got a random drop of items and can get a variety of things from each of those creatures. But let's head down here. Oh my lord. Are you kidding? What is this? What is this? Bloodstains. Were there nasty people trying to murder my bro over here? Come on. This guy is not hostile. I got very lucky in that I did not kill this guy when I first came down here. If you see you try to talk to him, he doesn't speak your language, so you can't really do it. This guy is a man-scorpion, which if you play D&D, you'll be familiar with. However, this guy is actually a nice man-scorpion. He looks pretty cool, he's pretty unique, I like the design. Tragically, he's a friend, so we can't really fight him, so I can't really chalk this up to a good monster design in this game, because he's not a monster, he's a regular guy. And I thought stupidly bought the Ring of Whispers ages ago, and didn't really know what to do with it. There was really no it didn't have a function to me at first. But then I realized when I came over here, it said, and perhaps a few other things as well. He. That's a little bit too blatant for my taste, but if you do that, you can hear the roaring. Or maybe you can't, but there's a roaring in the background now because there are enemies nearby. But now you can talk to this guy, so let's listen to see what he has to say.
Human, are we? This is no place for you. Be gone. Are you not afraid of me? Humans rarely come here. Those who do turn back when they see me, or make an attempt on my life. But you are different. We once had a master. He created us long, long ago. But he was born with a fatal flaw. He resented those who had what he lacked and became fully mired in hatred. Eventually, he drove himself mad. It was at the peak of this madness that he conjured up we strange creatures. Our master was a tragically lonely soul. Eventually, his solitude eroded his very reason. In the end, he never understood what it was that he truly lacked. Nobody knows when we were born, or where our master has gone. The only ones who even speak a human tongue are myself and my better half. I wish to ask a favor of you. I want you to kill my betrothed. Once, I always found her at my side. But as time went on, things went awry. She became violent, raging uncontrollably. Eventually, she came after me. We have been locked in combat ever since. We seem to be at a standstill. The wounds we exchange are never lethal. I was born of my master's madness. Perhaps this is some curse. I will be sure to assist you in return. The past is a distant fog. My name was Tark. That is all that I remember.
Okay, so there's a lot of confusing stuff going on here. If you played Dark Souls 1, you'll know, yeah, I agree with that oddball ad. You'll know that there was a character named Iron Tarkus. And Iron Tarkus was a really cool guy. He was a real beast, really tough, wore big, huge, heavy armor, wielded the old greatsword. He was a really tough knight of Berenice, and everybody really liked him. So did I. And he died shortly after he helped us in Sen's Fortress. He died later in Anor Londo. You can get a scythe here infused with Tark. It's not too useful to us. And what happened here with Tark is that this must be Tarkus, who has been somehow reborn, I guess, because, Tarkus was undead, but how did he get transformed into this creature? We know who did it, and we may know why, because he was crazy. It's implied that it's done by a character in Dark Souls 1 called Seek the Scaleless. But how did Tark get to the Duke's archives, and why did he change him into this, and how is he still alive? And well, anyway, the lore things baffle me there. But what exactly, what he's talking about is that he's actually at war with his wife. The only other man-scorpion, or woman-scorpion, fema-scorpion, you could say, is the boss of this area. And her name is Scorpioness Nazca. And Nazca is a lot bigger than he is. And what he's talking about with those wounds they exchange rarely being lethal it's kind of comic to me, because before the patch, this guy was a joke. He was one of the biggest jokes in the game. He probably died quicker to his own wife more than any other person I've ever seen. And he's kind of pathetic. So he shouldn't be, because I love Tarkus, and he was a beast, and the fact that they made him all crunchy and chitinous in this game is a bit ridiculous. Here is one of the lion guys. He may kick my ass, because he is a beast. And I'm not just saying that because he's a lion. I'm saying that because he is brutal. These enemies that we're fighting in the game, these lion guys, are really, really tough. And they are also almost completely immune to virtually all kinds of magic. So if you come in here as a sorcerer, you are going to get demolished pretty quickly. They are absolutely incredibly resistant against that kind of damage. And they're pretty strong, and their shields are actually pretty good too. These guys can drop their armor, which I found to be really, really useful if I'm running like a barbarian build, because it's really just kind of a cape, or something like that. I think it's called the Lion's Warrior Cape. That one we just fought in there is a unique one with blonde hair, a blonde mane, who drops a special red Lion's Warrior Cape. And their items, I think they also drop legging, I think they drop some kind of leg piece, and that one in there drops a headpiece, but so rarely I've never gotten it, and I have tried to farm it. And also some armbands, and really they offer virtually nothing in the way of defense, but these guys will also, but that armor will also reduce falling damage, just like the Cat's Ring. So if you're running that kind of cosplay build as a barbarian, that's a good way to go, I think, to kill those guys. Their shield there is not very good. I was really eager to get that when I first played the game, and was really saddened by the fact that it's actually does not really look like that on you. Their shields remind me a lot of kind of early Celtic shields. You know, these big wooden boards that you'd see being wielded by people that fought Caesar. However, they don't really look like that to you. They look like tower shields to them, but they're actually merely little, or like smaller shields to you. Even though they have the same shape, they're a little too small for me. That one is a major troll up there, because there's no way to get it. You have to shoot it. So, that's why I brought these, that's why I'm using that heavy arrow there. And let's just destroy this one. This is another embarrassing moment in Dark Souls 2 gameplay, because, let's see what this says here. Try jump attack? Maybe you could hit him from over there. But as you can see, we have piles of these lion guys, and they can't hit us. We are invincible to them because they can't go through this doorway. And you can almost see in the minds of the Dark Souls 2 dev team, okay, we just piled up this area, tons of enemies, what are we going to do now? Oh, we can't have him chase him down there to go kill Tark. So what are we going to do? Oh, I don't know, I guess we're just going to have to make a door that they mysteriously can't pass through. I've also seen a bunch of times these guys, and I want to know if other people have experienced this or if it's just me. But the lion just like randomly dying for no reason, almost like if he got cursed or something. Very rarely I've seen them pass through this door, but it's, like I said, very, very rare. Their axe is actually a pretty cool looking weapon. It's unlike the other bandit-type axes that we've gotten. I actually think this one looks pretty cool. But it doesn't have the scaling I think you really want to make it a decent strength weapon. We got an item, and we got the shield. I will show it to you. That is very useful to illustrate my point. So again, it's got that boss at the center of metal, and just the design kind of looks Celtic to me, and just this sort of oval shape. I really like it, but it should be bigger. It should be a tower shield. Anyway. Their axe, I think if you get it fully upgraded, I think it's going to get up to a B. I don't think it's going to get up to an A, though. Lousy vases, making me confused, whatever they are. And we can also get a Titanite chunk in this area, which is very nice. And some petrified dragon boners. I mean bone. Whatever it is. Now you noticed right over there, I don't know if you can see him, there he is, we have one of those basilisks, except this one is gigantic, obviously. This guy cannot really move beyond this point. Most of the enemies in all three of the Souls games have an aggro range.
And it's really best to take these guys out at range. They are pretty troublesome if you try to do anything else. I'm coming up in about half an hour, so I think I'm going to end the episode here and then take on the boss in the next one. I'll see you there.